Jake Miller, a young tech titan in Chicago, had it all: skyscrapers with his name, a penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan, and a life of relentless deals and fleeting faces. Yet, a void echoed in his steel and glass empire, a silence no amount of success could fill. Then Sarah Johnson rolled into his lobby, a new receptionist, her wheelchair a quiet counterpoint to the city's roar. A car crash had changed her life, but not her spirit. Chicago's cutthroat energy hadn't dimmed the spark in her eyes. Jake, usually blind to anyone outside his inner circle, barely registered her at first. But when his assistant abruptly quit, Sarah, the temporary fix, was suddenly in his orbit. To Jake, she was just filling a gap, yet her calm competence, her radiant smile began to chip away at his carefully constructed walls. Days blurred, and Jake found himself watching Sarah, drawn to her quiet strength, her effortless grace in a world that wasn't always graceful to her. He, who commanded billions, was captivated by her unwavering optimism. Confusion simmered within him. This wasn't his world, this vibrant woman in a wheelchair. Pride, image, the whispers of his elite circle, they all rose as obstacles. For Sarah, working for Jake was navigating a minefield. She knew his power, the ace reputation. Yet, she treated him with the same warmth she offered everyone. But even Sarah saw beneath the billionaire's frost a flicker of something deeper, a loneliness that mirrored her own in a different way. His gaze lingered a beat too long. The first crack in Jake's armor appeared as a storm of inner conflict. Attraction, raw and undeniable, clashed with his ingrained prejudices, the expectations of his gilded cage. Could he, Jake Miller, fall for someone so different? Would his world shatter? Sarah, fiercely independent, focused on proving her worth, not seeking pity. She'd faced enough sideways glances, enough dismissals. She wouldn't be seen as fragile, least of all by a billionaire. But as days turned into weeks, a subtle shift occurred. Jake's questions grew more personal, his attention sharper. He was fascinated by her resilience, her unwavering smile despite the daily grind. He couldn't fathom such positivity after such hardship. His own life, a monument to success, felt hollow in comparison. The closer he got to Sarah, the more turbulent his inner world became. Falling for her challenged everything he thought he knew about himself, about his life. He wrestled with the insidious whispers of prejudice, the fear of judgment. Would his peers scoff? Would his image crumble? Emily, meanwhile, sensed the shift in Jake's demeanor, a new intensity in his gaze. Intrigued but guarded, she maintained a careful distance. Her recovery had taught her to protect her heart, to not mistake kindness for something deeper. Then, the predictable happened. Jake's assistant returned, snapping the fragile thread of their daily interactions. Sarah was back at reception, a physical gulf now separating them, and Jake felt the absence like a phantom limb. He missed her quiet presence, the unexpected smiles. His inner circle noticed the change too. Jake, the machine, was distracted. At a power lunch, a partner's casual remark about Sarah, about someone like that working for Jake, hung heavy in the air, a subtle jab that mirrored Jake's own buried fears. Sarah found solace in her friend and coworker Maria, a constant source of sunshine. Maria saw the spark between Sarah and Jake, urging her to open her heart, to not let fear dictate her path. "Love finds you in the elevator, in the boardroom, wheelchair or not," Maria would say, her optimism infectious. But Sarah's scars ran deep. Jake, wrestling with his demons, confided in Robert, his mentor, a seasoned tycoon who'd weathered his own storms. Robert, with a knowing glint in his eye, spoke of balance, of finding joy beyond the bottom line, a concept alien to Jake's driven existence. The words resonated, a seed of doubt planted in his ambition-fueled heart. The tension between Jake and Sarah tightened, a silent melody playing between them. He finally asked her for coffee, a casual invitation that felt seismic. The air crackled with unspoken desires, insecurities casting long shadows. Jake fumbled, hesitant to reveal the turmoil within. Sarah, sensing his unease, remained guarded, afraid of misreading the signals. Then, a bombshell. An international expansion deal, months abroad, a world away from Sarah. Panic seized Jake. He'd barely begun to unravel his feelings, and now the possibility of losing her loomed. Urgency propelled him. He threw a lavish company gala, a stage to subtly shift his world, and personally invited Sarah, shocking his colleagues and Sarah herself. Hesitantly, encouraged by Maria, Sarah agreed. Gala night arrived, and Sarah, in a stunning dress, felt a wave of insecurity wash over her as she entered the glittering ballroom. a world of power and privilege she'd never known. "Hot dog," whispered Maria, a secret code against eavesdroppers. Jake stayed close, but the undercurrent of judgment was palpable. A senior partner oozing disdain cornered Sarah, his words laced with venom. Rare to see someone with your limitations at events like this. The casual cruelty stung, Sarah's composure faltering. Jake's carefully constructed calm shattered. Rage, raw and protective, surged. He confronted the partner, his voice cutting through the polite chatter, defending Sarah with a ferocity that stunned everyone. His public declaration, though brave, sent tremors through his carefully curated world. His partners, sensing a shift, questioned his judgment, his priorities. The gala fallout was immediate. Jake, shaken, finally understood the depth of his feelings. He was done living a performance, suffocated by others' expectations. Leaving the event, raw emotion poured out. "I'm in love with you, Sarah," he confessed, vulnerability stripping away the billionaire veneer. "I don't care what anyone thinks." Sarah, deeply moved by his public stand, felt her own walls begin to crumble, yet a flicker of doubt remained. Was this genuine, or a billionaire's fleeting fascination? She didn't want to be a project, a charity case. But new storms brewed. The international deal loomed, a chasm threatening to open between them. His partners, sensing instability, tightened their grip, hinting at consequences if he pursued this distraction. Jake faced a brutal choice, empire or heart. Sarah too wrestled with her doubts. Could she truly open herself to a man from such a different universe? Was she strong enough for the scrutiny, the judgment? In a quiet corner of the city, away from prying eyes, they met, raw honesty hanging in the air. Jake confessed his past, a life lived for others' approval, until Sarah. "You showed me what real connection is," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I'll walk away from the deal, from everything, for you." Sarah, tears welling, shook her head. "Don't sacrifice your dreams for me, Jake." She saw the impulsive fire in his eyes, the heat of the moment. "Think, really think about what you want." She urged him to pursue his ambitions, even if it meant distance. A chasm opened between them, a test of their fragile bond. They parted, uncertainty hanging heavy, their future suspended in the balance. Back in his sterile penthouse, silence amplified Jake's turmoil. The weight of expectation, the empire he'd built, pressed down. Yet, the thought of a life without Sarah was a bleak landscape. For the first time, money and power were meaningless. In her small apartment, Sarah wrestled with her own demons. Independence, her hard-won shield, felt flimsy now. She didn't want to be a burden, to hold Jake back. Society's whispers echoed in her mind, doubts amplified by her own insecurities. But deep down, a flicker of hope persisted. True love, she dared to believe, defied limitations. Days crawled by. Jake went through the motions at work, Sarah a constant ache in his chest. He saw his reflection in the glass towers, a hollow victory. Success felt like ash. Emily confided in Maria, her friend's unwavering faith a lifeline. Maria's words resonated. Don't underestimate yourself, or his love. Sarah started to see her own barriers, the walls she'd built for self-preservation. Maybe, just maybe, she was worthy of this love. Jake, spurred by a newfound clarity, acted. He called a partners' meeting, his voice ringing with conviction. "Expansion is important," he declared, "but not at the cost of my happiness." He spoke of Sarah, of the profound shift she'd ignited within him. The room was split. Some, sensing a new authenticity, offered tentative support. Others, entrenched in tradition, recoiled. Jake stood firm. He wouldn't let fear dictate his life. Sarah, emboldened, made her own decision. Fear had held her captive long enough. If Jake's love was real, she would meet him halfway. She went to his office, heart pounding, finding him lost in thought, gazing out at the city. Relief flooded his face as he saw her. Their conversation was different this time, raw and unguarded. Sarah confessed her fears, her insecurities. "I need you to see me, Jake, not just pass the chair." Emotion choked Jake's voice. "I see you, Sarah. All of you. Always." A turning point. Jake felt liberated, shedding the weight of expectation. Sarah, empowered, embraced her worthiness. Together, hand in hand, they faced the uncertain future. Jake restructured his life, balance replacing relentless drive. Sarah, with Jake's unwavering support, thrived, her independence amplified, not diminished. Partners in every sense. But the path remained rocky. Media vultures circled, sensational headlines screaming about the billionaire and the wheelchair-bound receptionist. High society whispered. Investors squirmed. At a charity gala, the air crackled with tension. A partner, his smile tight, subtly questioned Jake's focus, implying Sarah was a liability. Then, a journalist, predatory and relentless, cornered Sarah, firing invasive questions about her disability, cameras flashing. Humiliation washed over Sarah. Jake intervened, fury erupting, silencing the reporter, but the damage was done. Tears streaming, Sarah fled. Jake found her in the garden, guilt twisting his gut. "I'm a burden, Jake," she whispered, her voice breaking. It's too much." She saw his life, the life he deserved, a life without complications. Jake took her hands, his gaze unwavering. "You're not a complication, Sarah. You're my happiness." He poured out his heart, his love, a defiant roar against the judging world. Doubt lingered in Sarah's eyes, the weight of external pressure a heavy shroud. Then, chaos erupted. A runaway car, hurtling toward the gala exit, a scream ripping through the air. In slow motion, Jake saw Sarah, her wheelchair in the car's path. Instinct took over. He lunged, throwing himself in front of the car, shoving Sarah clear. Impact. Darkness. Sirens wailed. Jake woke in a hospital bed, pain throbbing, Emily's tear-streaked face swimming into focus. "Sarah? I'm here, Jake. I'm okay." The traumatic event shattered Sarah's remaining doubts. Seeing Jake risk everything, her heart finally surrendered. "I was so afraid of being a burden," she whispered, tears flowing freely. "But the real burden would be living without you." Jake's eyes, filled with love, softened. "You've never been, and never will be, a burden, Sarah. You're the reason I'm a better man." Their bond, forged in fire, was unbreakable. News of Jake's heroism went viral. The narrative flipped. The public, once critical, now lauded their love story, an inspiration against all odds. Sarah, no longer defined by her wheelchair, became a symbol of resilience. The press, once vultures, now sang their praises. Jake, in a powerful statement, declared his love, his defiance of prejudice, his belief in true worth beyond appearances. His words resonated, respect replacing judgment. The accident became a catalyst, their love story a beacon. Sarah's transformation was profound. The fear of being a burden vanished. Her worth, she finally knew, resided not in her body, but in her spirit. Jake, recovering, surprised no one by doubling down. He didn't retreat into the corporate cocoon. At a press conference, his voice raw with emotion, he spoke of Sarah's impact. "Sarah showed me true success isn't measured in dollars, but in love, sacrifice, and resilience." His words resonated, changing hearts and minds. Within Miller Tech, a revolution began. Inclusion became more than a buzzword. Jake championed accessibility, launching programs, hiring people with disabilities, creating equal opportunities. His partners, initially skeptical, witnessed a transformation. Profits soared, the company's image glowed, progressive, human, innovative, stock prices jumped. Jake became a leader admired for both his business acumen and his empathy. Jake and Sarah escaped the city's glare, retreating to a quiet country house. Under a starlit sky, Jake knelt, a small velvet box in his hand. "Sarah," he whispered, tears glistening, "you changed everything. Marry me." Tears streamed down Sarah's face. "Yes," she breathed. "Yes, I will." Their wedding, intimate, heartfelt, became a symbol of hope. Sarah became a powerful advocate, her voice amplified by Jake's platform. They established a foundation, championing inclusion. They'd faced prejudice, fear, and emerged stronger. Their love, a beacon. 5 years passed. The Miller-Johnson Foundation thrived, changing lives. Their country house, a sanctuary, witnessed laughter and love. Their son David arrived, a testament to their unwavering bond. Sarah, a respected public figure, spoke at conferences, wrote books, inspired millions. Humility remained her anchor. One sun-drenched afternoon, watching David play, Sarah took Jake's hand. "Did you ever imagine this?" she asked, her voice soft with wonder. Jake squeezed her hand, his eyes reflecting a love that defied expectations. "Never this good, Sarah. Never this real." Their journey, a testament to love's transformative power, a legacy of resilience, inclusion, and unwavering hope. Their love story, a beacon in a world that often forgot to see beyond the surface.